Finding worms, I hope. Hi guys, Shirley here. Going to do some watercolour with these. I'll show you how I wet them. The block is going to be rough, 300 GSM, and it's that brand, which is, what is it? Baohong, I think. Baohong, B-A-O-H-O-N-G. Link below. So I'll just get started with wetting the paper, and I'll have a chat as we go. Get my coffee. Oh, by the way, we've had some great rain lately. So as you can see behind me, I'm showing off the dam, which is full. We've got a new pile burn coming, but you know, even though we've had rain, we're not allowed to burn it. There's a policy, so we have to wait till next winter. Silly. Spent the morning feeding chickens, helping Bob with the tractor, whatever. Oh, I must tell you that I've started doing abstract work too. So maybe these videos might change in the future. I might share my process of doing abstract paintings with acrylic paint. Large. Yeah. Very different. I've gone to the dark side. My friend John Rice told me. I've moved over from realism to abstract. And I think it might be a COVID thing, being locked down. We've had long lockdowns here, and we weren't going out doing plein air painting, so I wasn't getting constantly inspired. And I've painted the dam so many times, it's not funny. Anyway, I'm having a play with abstract. I just thought I'd try something totally different, just to give myself a break and to like cheer up. And it is such a fun thing to do. It is so good. So I'll share that in another video. First things first, I do a quick dip with each of these. Shake it off. They're not in any way, they were dry, so now they're still not totally wet. I just let that sit for a minute. That's enough water that I need to soften up those pans. So I just thought I'd show you one of my abstracts, this one. And I could, now this is an earlier one that I've finished. I have finished, it's lovely and dry. This one is a work in progress. This is going to change a fair bit, but that's on a warm colour scheme, and this one's on a cool colour scheme, and it's so much fun to do. So these are my reference prints. I'll put them over here. Okay. And what I find in here is photographs and prints that I've kept from the past to use as reference material, and snow gums. And it's interesting going back, that was one I did the other day, over some of these prints, because oh, I haven't done that one. It's like going back through your photo album, seeing old work. I rather like that. Maybe we could do something like that. Is it too hard? I'll put that out. Little cottages. A little bit too twee to sketch. I keep everything, previous montages. Anyway, I'll just quickly go through here and see if I can find something that will be suitable. what my choice will be is something that's fairly easy to do on a small scale. Lots of figures. Don't think I want to do figures. Trees are good. It's rather interesting, that one. I've painted that one as a large oil painting. I did that a while ago in a workshop. But, I think I've painted that one. I've always wanted to do this one with a couple of figures sitting there by the window. I might have a go at that. It's very dark, but it might be interesting to see what I can get out of it as far as the figures go. So I might try that one. Let's see. If you don't see the video, you know it's too hard. Put those back. Now, put that straight back, otherwise it gets left out. Okay, I'm just going to put my paints aside. They're still damp. You know, the water's soaking in. They're still dampening up, I should say. I'm going to choose the right pencil. Since my studio cleanup, I have found some of these pencil pens. I do like pencil pens, but I just find I can't, I don't know, they seem to get lost. So there's one there. Why isn't that coming through? I've got the leads here. I thought I could put on a new lead, but maybe I don't need to. Okay, that's good. Will it stay out? Yes. Good. Okay. Start with pencil pen, and it's 2B probably, and I'm just going to be quite loose with this drawing. Half close my, oh well, actually what I might do is firstly get the centre of the image, just as a guide for myself. I do this every time I do a drawing, so I don't think I have to explain the concept. So it's just there near that girl's shoulder. Oops. I'm not going to do the whole picture. I said that before, didn't I? I will have trouble with these, with the table and chairs and things too. So now I have to decide on what stage to this girl's. I'll start with the face. Now, first thing to do is to work out where your whites are. So I've got a white window. I do want to avoid putting colour on that. the next lightest colour is the creams of the tabletop. So I'm going to mix that up now, and that I think would be a beautiful burnt sienna. Basically an all over wash, I'm thinking. There's nowhere that there's not brown except for the window. I'm not watching what I'm doing. Well, first thing you'll notice when you watch my videos is how many mistakes I make. Kind of like the queen of that. So I'm just doing a pretty rough old wash all the way down here of this burnt sienna. I'm doing it straight on dry paper. I haven't wet the paper. What I call wet on dry, for obvious reasons. Brush is going a bit funny. Let's put some nice colours up the side here. Often at this stage I make a decision that I won't go right to the edge, and then later on I totally forget that and I go over the edge. But this time I will try and see if I can. I'm putting in the top of that window there, by the way. Sometimes a nice little sort of like a white edge on a painting like this works quite well. While this is wet, I'm going to add some darks. I don't like that colour. Why do I keep dabbing into it? So I'm going to just get this shading thing happening from the window. Start this off underneath the table, over there. Kind of vignetting, making it dark all the way around the outside. Now that I look at that ceiling, it has got a pinkish tone to the brown. This one is the right colour for up here. Probably why I haven't got rid of it yet. Now my abstract painting habit lately will certainly make me looser with this. Oops, hair coming out there. I'll just take the water off the bottom of that so that that dries, and I'll get the hairdryer out and give that a good blast. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different. I think I will do the darks next, where normally I don't. But because this is such a detailed sort of graphic-y thing, I can't be too loose like I would with a tree or a landscape. I do want the figures to be fairly well drawn in. So I think what I might do is start by a very dark colour, which is the blue and the brown together. And that's the ultramarine blue and burnt umber for me. Everyone has their different choice. I like to go a bit more on the blue side. Not the right blue. I have a feeling I've got a greeny blue in there. See, this is the trouble when they're that dark. Can't quite remember what I put there. Okay, so I'll add a bit of purple to it to see if I can bring it back to magenta. That'll work. Too magenta-y. Now a bit more blue again. Okay, I'm getting there. So, just going to put this in very lightly so that I've got a drawn image. And in a way, I think this can help with the graphics of the painting. some of these very dark areas. Now I can wet them up later and spread them out, but this gives me the edge, sharp edge I want. And I'm deliberately going loose and sketchy, not tight and neat. So practice that if you can, if you're not already at that stage. The more painting you do, the more practiced you are, especially with a good brush. Notice how pointy that brush is on the end. Now this is Bonazzi. It's one of those Italian brushes that I'll link below. Now it's not cheap, but when you're going to be painting a lot, do shout yourself a couple of really good brushes and just look after them. And that's the trick. You make them last, and then they're worth every penny. So I'm just putting in a fair bit of detail in a drawing in way. I'm kind of drawing it. In a way that's cheating. Put the girl's hair. Her dark shoulder. So I'm kind of breaking rules here. I'm instead of going light to dark, I'm jumping ahead and just making sure I can get this painting penned in. I'll go a bit warmer now, away from the window, just for the variety. I'll put her hair like that. Got some framework up here. Obviously speakers for their party nights. And it's a very quiet day here. It's down at the Rocks, this particular pub, and in Sydney. And I was walking past and looked in the door, and I just saw these two girls sitting there, deep in conversation. I was very naughty. I didn't ask their opinion. Their permission. I just grabbed my camera and clicked and ran. They didn't see me, but it was just such a good little. They can't tell who they are, so it doesn't matter. This is what I often do in cafes. I'll turn my camera so that it's a sneaky way of getting photographs of people without realising they're being photographed. And I'm not doing it for any horrible reason. It's just so that I can get angles of people, and the way they sit and the way they lean forward. And I'm very shy. I don't like to go up people saying, "Do you mind if I take your picture?" Because then I know then they'll pose. That's not what I'm after. I could sit there and sketch away. I have got friends who do that, who sketch in cafes, and they sketch the people around them, and that is brilliant. And I would definitely do that if I had time. But I usually am on the run. Got to get back for some reason. So they're the two figures. Possibly this girl now is too big, so I might have to reduce her down later by darkening the background and coming in on her. A few things on the table, I'll just sketch them in. And if this side of the table has got this beautiful round shape, I'll pretend there's no joke. I've already done that, haven't I? Made a decision about the chair. And a few other items around the room. That is about that height there. Pictures. Actually, that's all a bit funny up here. I've got to go much higher, I realise. Okay, that's a picture rail. Okay. When in doubt, leave it out. So I'm just going to, and I'll bring her there that way. I've already got the sketch underneath of what I wanted to do with this girl, but don't know that it's going to work. I think I want to make her more intense. This girl, I might just fold her legs around like that, so they're pretty close, those legs. Now, table, underneath table. goes over the top there. Okay, so those feet are going to be a bit wrong. I'll have to make that change later. Come down with a bit of the cooler. Like that. Cross like that behind. The shadows coming out here. And like that. Yeah, I've definitely made her too tall, too big, but I'll show you what I do there. And my next stage is going to be the wall behind. I have a feeling, I've got sort of deja vu that I complain about my colours every time I paint. I should sort them before I start. So I've definitely got dark in here behind there. Behind that girl. Here I go. And this is where I'm in trouble now. See, that white's in the way. Okay, I've got to get rid of it. And that will involve a scalpel. I mean a blade. I'll wipe that on something. Get rid of it altogether. There we go. One thing you don't want when you're painting is opacity. It has to be transparent. Keep it transparent for as long as possible. And just go, unless you're using gouache, of course. So I'm just going to trace down some of these colours here. Apply the colour and then I add water. Reinforce where the edge of the bricks are going to be. If you look at the picture, you'll see I have not followed that very accurately. So I wet my brush and I'm just pulling it across there. I'll touch it into the girl a little bit. Just be careful, you don't want that girl's darkness to run into this lighter area that you're playing with. And then up the top there, I'll go for a slightly darker brown across the top. For the fun of it, the very pale area behind here and then across into the girls, got that sort of L-shaped. So I'll get some, I've put some new paints here and obviously they're not what I'm after. I'm after a raw umber, and that doesn't look very raw umber. It's underneath that paint that I've got on top there, and it's also underneath that one. Gosh, I've made a mess of these. Okay, I'll have to make it up. I'm going to add a little bit of pink, a little bit of yellow to that. That might do me. Let's see how that looks. So I've got to leave a hint of brickwork. I might add a bit more yellow to it. Yep. Now I'm using a dry brush to make those bricks at the back there. Come over those with slightly different, bright orange, I don't know about that. I'll add some blue to that bright colour now. Greeny colour, so it's, as it comes down to the sides here, it's It's quite dull, grey. It looks like they've had a room attached on because they've got a vertical row of joins instead of the brick pattern, but I'll keep the brick pattern there. Okay, I think I need to go, I'd like to go back into this up here, just add a few more layers, just making it look very vague. I haven't brought myself to do this bright green down here. I don't know that I will. I think I'll pretend it's, say, a white window. Get some blues and browns in together again and just go back over these bricks. This fireplace definitely has to be knocked back. The painting is rather interesting, so I'll just put it a little bit like that. This slightly red painting here too gets a Guernsey. I like to try and be a little bit realistic if there's a painting hanging in a room, for the fun part that when future fake or fortunes are looking for lost works, they can go back to my painting and say, look, there it was hanging on the wall. For any of you that are fake or fortune fans, BBC. Okay. Serious, Shirley. Focus now. No, that's green. I want to go blue down the bottom. Whenever I've got yellowy brown colours, I might just pick this up, carry on with this. Clarify what colours I have here. I'm just going to put a bit of blue across the floor. Just leave a little bit of light there, as if a right dark blue there. Dark blue here. I like that blue. I'll balance that up by adding it up here to the brickwork, and then in general toss it into the wall up there. Just that blueness I like. And for that matter, I think I'll add that blueness to this fireplace here. Now the girls' outfits. This girl's blue. The other one's blue too, I think, but I might not do her. I'll do her a slightly different colour. The fact that both in the same colour might mean they work together. I was just about to dab into the red. No, don't, Shirley. Go for, say, a purpley colour. Keep it on a similar colour scheme. Not quite the same, but that's good enough. Dark brown on the hair on, say, this girl here. It's definitely down there. I might put slightly lighter brown on this girl. Leaving patches of white there because it's being caught by the window colour, the light coming in the window. Now, for the face, I'll go to a round brush, and what I'll do here, just make sure you're not too wet. I'll wet her face, and then I'll add the brown sienna, that burnt sienna, just on one side in the shadow, and let it come across like that. Back of the arm, dark first and then the water over the top. Different way of doing it. That arm there, this arm here, this face here. Okay. Now the trick here is to, if you've done it rough here, you do it rough here. You don't try and do tight details on the face. You don't put eyes in, you don't put noses, mouths. You just go a general swipe. Otherwise, it starts to look unbalanced. This keeps the whole picture tied together as a unit. If you go and tighten up one little bit here and there, then you're unbalancing the work. So I'll put some, dark brown underneath here for legs. It's going to go very dark in a minute. And this leg here, I haven't quite worked out what I'm doing there. And here, I think I'll add. Okay, so I'll go to the purple for the bottom of her. Almost jeans colour, I guess. And on this girl, I've got a tiny bit of green here, so I might just do a touch of the green there. It's good enough. Now, what to do with this window? I think what I'll do is, I'm just going to get water and put water down there to start with. This is my go-to. So when I've got dark edges like that, I can put water on it like that and see how that smooths it out really nicely. That's about it. Because light's reflecting up there, light's reflecting down there. That might be all I need to do. A tiny bit in there. I put a mark down there thinking I was going to make a stronger shadow on that face, but I'll just knock that back a little bit with the corner of my brush. I've got a bit of just very slight damp brush, pulling out that funny shadow there. I need to add a few more gadgets to the table, and it looks like they have a drink of some sort, so I'll put some beer on the table. Oop. Haven't quite got a small enough brush for this. And someone's phone case. Oh, okay, go to the small brush. This one. Phone case. Darker. Why not black? And oh yeah, the beautiful browns of these chairs I think are worth. So I'll go for a straight burnt umber, and I'll just go over the top of that black I'd already put in. So it's sort of becoming a very much a dry brush technique, and that's because I'm working on rough paper. It works so well. You just skim over the top and it gives you all these little dots. That's what the dry is all about, the dry brush. So I'm going to be darkening. I'll finish this chair off here with a few little casual shapes. Do the bent wood stuff. Make sure the legs are relatively accurate, and so much to the figures. Now I want to darken all that because I'm not going to fiddle. I don't want to get, that's not the story where they're sitting. The story was just the fact that they were both mimicking their, well actually this girl had her arm down. Oh, that might be a good idea. Anyway, I'm just going to darken up underneath here. Now I'll go a little bit purple. Sometimes I like to just put pretty colours down, so in case they're not accurate, they don't hurt the eye, they're still okay. So just darken, darken. Very dark, very dark. Almost done. Maybe dark under there. And I'm thinking about that girl's face. I need to make it a little bit more attractive. I've pretty in the photo. Need to sort of, oh, I know, wrong brush. I'll go closer and what I haven't done, I know I said before don't put in eyes and whatever, but what I need to do is just define the shadows of her face. Just like that. Yeah, much better. Down here. Now, this girl here, I'm going to put down her arm so she's not too much copying the other girl. I think I need to go a lot darker on her outfit here. There is no shadow this side, so let's just, I mean no sunlight this side, so let's maintain the dark there, almost black. Yeah, and I'll blacken out her pants down there. Okay, I kind of feel that I've said enough in this painting. Could fiddle. A touch in dark is sometimes fun to do if you still want to add a little bit more. I could tighten up some of these picture frames just a tad. Now that I've got it finished, I could see where I can play without doing too much damage. Now, kind of feeling I should darken in behind there a little bit without going to kill it, because technically speaking that should be, a bit worried about that. Maybe I won't, maybe I'll leave it. I'll just imagine that the light is hitting the table, it's bouncing up onto that wall behind. I'll let that dry, and I might use the air dryer, the blow dryer on it, and it will be interesting to see what the darks do. The darks should lighten, and it'll be interesting to see if I need to then go back in and maybe do a little bit more on the patterning of the chairs, or maybe not. Well, thanks very much for watching this particular painting being done. That's the finished work. I've taken it off the pad. I'll wait for it to dry. If I fiddle with it, you'll see that in the final photograph. So thanks very much. See you soon. Bye-bye.